Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Foxhound Finance. Whether you guys are new here or a returning viewer, this is the place where we break down stocks, market trends, investment strategies. So if you enjoy insightful analysis and sort of planning tactical financial moves, be sure to like, subscribe, and please turn on notifications so you guys never miss an update. I want you guys to always be in the know in terms of seeing what I'm seeing and being able to position yourself in the best way possible. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. So please, guys, always do your own research and consult with a professional before making any investment decisions. Okay, let's get into it. Today, we're talking about Rivian once again. I launched a channel with this in my first video, just comparing its setup to other stocks like Carvana, Robinhood, even though they're in different sectors, following a very similar structure, I think, on the charts. So if you guys missed that first video, please go check that out. I think you guys will find it pretty useful in terms of like making a decision and spotting those kind of similar trends. Maybe it's something that you'll see in the future with other stocks as well. So go check that out. But today, I kind of want to do a little bit of a two-parter. What I want to first look at is the financial statements for Rivian. Okay, real quick, I just want to look at the annual and quarterly report. We're only going to focus today very quickly on the net income. Okay, so right here, you guys can see since 2019, year over year, they're improving. Okay. Are they still in the negative? Yes. Okay. But I think that's to be expected for a company like this that's just up and coming, especially in the EV sector. Right. And I'll get into some comparison to Tesla in the beginning as well. I believe, in short, Tesla took about 10 years to become profitable. And we all see the monster that they are today. So let's just keep that in mind that this is still in the infantile stages, essentially. But again, they are cutting down a lot of costs and losses are starting to be trimmed. So right here, we can see from the financial year 2023, negative 5.4 billion has improved from 6.7 billion in 2022. So again, over $1.2 billion, $1.3 billion improvement right there between 2022 to 2023. And I'm not even yet on 2024. You'll see that in the quarterly statements. Okay, let's look at the total revenue now. Look at this. Look at this. And again, you guys can go into your stock. If you guys don't know this is Webull. You guys can put your ticker symbol in, go look at the financials, and look at the progression. Okay, this is going to help you. I don't base all of my my trading decision on fundamentals because again, I'm like a technical hybrid trader with that. I just think this is a nice confidence booster so that if you're making a financial decision investment wise, you can also see this other side of it. So it's a bit of both for me, but again, I'm more of the technical side of things looking at the charts. I believe that they are the prelude to the next step, right, in terms of where the chart goes. So I'm looking at that first, and then this is sort of my second approach to seeing the growth aspect. So we're looking at the total revenue. And again, not much here. Obviously, they're kind of blanked out right here. Started getting some revenue here in 2021. We know that this was a very ugly year due to COVID and all that stuff and production issues. And again, I think that still has a lingering effect across several sectors to this day, right? Companies are still trying to rebound from COVID. Alrighty, so let's just keep that in mind. But then you see in 2022, they start really hitting the ground running here, 1.66 billion in revenue, and then 2023, 4.43 billion in revenue. Okay, so we're starting to see them gaining traction. And again, we'll look at the quarterlies here next. And so what we see here is how much money are they bringing in, right? You got 2019 to 2020, they had essentially zero revenue, right? They were IPOing probably around that time there. Then you got 0.06 billion in revenue begins in 2021. And again, like I said, 2023, $4.43 billion in revenue growth for 2023, which is massive compared obviously to the previous years, which is indicating increased sales, right? And if we look over here next at the operating income, you can also see an improvement here. Okay. So this is important because you're seeing that the progression is also in line with what we were seeing on the charts together. Okay. So 2023, you have a negative 5.7 billion loss, which is shrinking from $6.8 billion from 2022. So again, you are trimming off what, $1.1 billion in operating losses. Okay. Which means overall, yes, they are still unprofitable. At the core foundation, yes, are they losing money? That's a no-brainer. We can see that. Okay. But also, if you guys go over to the analysis tab here, you can sort of see the general sentiment overall. These are the analyst ratings, right? So over here to the left, we see obviously they have a buy rating. Okay, this is based on 29 analysts. You can take this for what you will. I'm not like one to just go into Webull and say like, oh, is everyone buying the stock? Is there a positive analyst rating? Let me just buy it then. Oh, there's a 31% strong buy. I'm jumping in. That's not really my approach. Again, you're taking segments of data and you're sort of trying to build a decision, right? What do you want to do with this stock? Okay, what is your outlook? Taking all these factors into account. Okay. So that's your breakdown of the analyst sort of rating on the stock as well, which I think goes in line with what we're seeing. So I can agree with this based on a chart perspective. I think this is actually pretty spot on. And then you guys can see the price targets for the analysts, right? You see the low end at $6, which I think that would be extreme. You see an average price target of $14.82, which we were just sitting below this. And then you see a high end target of $23. So take those things into account, I guess, if you want to really see what is the general market looking at in terms of the outlook of this stock, and you guys can see this here. But I want to go back again real quick. Let's just trim through this the quarterly statements that we have now, and again, you guys can see similar progression, even for 2023 to 2024. Okay. You have a little bit of red here in the middle of this, but net income wise, things are looking really good. I mean, things are starting to improve, right? Negative $1.1 billion. I mean, an improvement here from 2024 Q2. So quarter over quarter, I mean, here it was looking a little stagnant. But here we go. 2024 Q3, looking like we got another nice jump in terms of net income progression. And here you go with the total revenue. Obviously, this too looking really strong. I know this last Q3 total revenue wasn't looking too pretty. I mean, on paper, it looks like, oh my gosh, this is it, it's over. But I don't think that's the case. I think that you're going to see a lot of this fluctuation. But I think the overall idea is, are they trimming it down overall on sort of the macro scale, which again, annually, we're going to see, I have to check and see when the earnings are coming in for them again for the annual report. I do not have that on me right now, but you'll see that number come in here. And then we're really going to find out year over year from 2023 to 2024 what the projections are looking like and the growth is looking like. So waiting for that to come in as well. But again, you see the improvements here. So in line with the chart, what we said before, this also is a nice key indicator that this may be something worth maybe giving a go, right? If they really start trimming costs down and the net income turns positive, well, then you're in this now. You're going to be a part of this growth, and I think that's huge. Getting in early. Let's be real. This market is not designed for us individual investors to come in early. Okay. What they're going to do is tell you to get in when this thing is like, $30, $40 maybe, right? It's not going to be designed to tell you right now, jump in, get in on this early, right? Because they don't want us there. They don't want us in that early. They don't want us to be able to take advantage of the market in this way, right? So we sort of have to do this research ourselves and also have some forward-looking mentality. And how we can do that is, again, I'm going to come back to the chart. And there were some key data here that I broke down today with this. And essentially, I want to go back through again with the EMAs because I think it's important to see just how significant this is. Okay, so let's pop those up real fast. Yep, we got them up here. And I've adjusted them as well. So I have the 5, we got the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, and then the 200 moving average. Guys, we're sitting very nicely above this. Okay, we're at 1419. you can see the 200 daily moving average is at 13.13. We are a whole dollar above the 200-day moving average. Now, what does this mean? Okay. So one of the things that I looked at is the support level of $13.13. That is the 200 EMA. Okay. So that is now your support level. So if you come down and touch this again, this 200-day moving average, we're going to see how the stock responds. If it holds and the breakout remains intact, okay, you're going to come up to $15.42. And I'm going to show you something here. There's another indicator I like using. Let's remove the EMAs just real quick. Let's just focus on this pivot point indicator. Okay. So here you guys go. You're crossing over this pivot line. Okay. And when you break this, if you can get that nice hold above this line, you're going to go ahead and test resistance 1 here, which is $15.42. And if you continue to shred through this, these are the at least short-term targets that you have, right? You have resistance 2 here, 1827, and then you would jump up to 1990. Now, I believe that would be, yes, we're on the daily time frame. So again, this is sort of telling you right here that these are the levels to look for. If you start to surpass this and hold above R1, you could go to R2. And again, there's times where I was looking at, like I said, Robinhood, and it would just blow through at times even R3, and create, and then come down. And then you'd have that new range, like I said, start to develop this like sort of stair-stepping motion. So that is our pivot points right there. Another key one to use if you guys are using Webull, I like that you could, have at least something almost short-term levels to look at, right? And then again, too, if you're just simply looking at this from, like I said, level standpoint, you would just eliminate these. And like I said, you could just go in here and then find your previous topping points in the short term right here, right? We got one down here. So my thing is, let's say we get to the 1670. Yeah, I think we're well on our way to make moves here, at least up here, right? This is for me short term. Even this one back here like this. Hop on another level here. So even with the pivot points on, I think that's sort of like a little bit more of a short-term outlook, but you can kind of see them all spread out amongst here from the past. And you can see where they've broken down right here, right? So that's where our levels are at. And again, we have even this high over here at 28 bucks. So if I want to pop this on real quick, this is our levels to shred. Alrighty. So you guys can look at this any way you want, but I think that where it's positioned looks pretty nice. And again, there's not much down here on the bottom. I mean, there's not really much on the bottom. I think if anything, maybe you come back up here, you start shredding to the upside. And then if you come down, right, you're going to come down to some level here. Let me just hypothetically say that you guys shred through these price targets here, right? And, we're somewhere around $24. Maybe we're up to 28 again. And you come back down, you're eventually going to create a higher low. What did I tell you last time in the video here? That this was the 3rd highest low in the last, from April last year. Let's just say, well, April's right around the corner. In the last year, you've had higher lows forming on this chart, okay? You have your 826, you've got your 940-ish range, and then you got your 12 bucks, 1180 range. So what's eventually going to happen is that there's going to be a new higher low here somewhere. And that right there will probably spark the turning point for the stock. Because at that point, when you start getting past these levels, you guys are seriously going to look at this chart and go, oh, wow, like that's it. This is sort of the base right now. When you break this base foundation and start to build back over these levels again, just like I showed you guys in the Robinhood chart and Carvana chart, it could be a very rapid rebound. Because again, look at the gaps on the chart. You need to understand something, that as ugly as the chart looks going down, it's going to also come back up the same way once it breaks this resistance down here. When this phase is done, you're going to see this pop through this, and then you're going to start to see some serious moves up. Okay. So that's what I want you guys to be prepared for, is that when you break this lower range here, look at this. The gaps start to be immense, right? And we've seen this, like I said, with the other stocks. So keep that in mind when you guys are, trying to position yourself. What does it look like, right? What levels are we trying to hold? And that's kind of what I have right now from what I was seeing here earlier. And the last thing I will say is this. Let's click these off. I want to pop the MACD on. Your MACD indicator is showing you which direction this stock is headed. My goodness, look at this. So right here, we can see that the MACD looks like it's come down from the downside price action. Right here, you see it in red, and now you see it flipping green. You're seeing that the MACD line is crossing the signal line, telling you that it looks like bullish momentum is going to come in here. So I would like to see this over the next couple trading days, maybe in trading week here, to see what this looks like if this holds. Because as you can see, yes, you had a short period of downside. It looked like it was going to flip bullish, but you also have to understand, look at where the signal lines were. They were at a topping point when this sort of faked out and still went red. So you can already see that based on the move that it had from this point, it was pretty much peaked out. And then it drops. But the fact that it's dropping now, I really can't see this, and especially because the signal line's crossing over, and this is on the daily, it's crossing over. This is turning green. I don't know if I expect it to just kind of just go back down and continue crashing. You know what I mean? I think it's possible, obviously, but really, again, you have your 200-day moving averages lined up. You have the MACD flipping. We just looked at the balance sheet, which is sort of more of the macro long-term outlook of it. Things are looking pretty decent, I would say. And I would say that it's worth just sort of keeping an eye on, especially this week. Again, we said worst case scenario in the last video, like if it got ugly and it drops down to $8, $9, yes, that's possible. But I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon, at least. I think that you may see even like a retest of the $11 range again, right? Maybe we pop back up, and if you do come back down, you may come back down to this level, at least initially, right? It's going to have to take something pretty catastrophic. And as we enter the euphoric state of the market, when we hit that stage of euphoria, you're going to see stocks running that the fundamentals don't mean the fundal matters. The fundamentals do not mean shit, okay? You're going to see that stage in the market where there's irrational buying coming in, and there's going to be companies who are very much positioned from a growth standpoint that are doing well. Like I said, Rivian is trimming down its losses. You're going to see those companies do obviously very well, but there's going to be even other companies where it's sort of more irrational logic, right? I think we saw that in 2021, right? I remember Koss being one of the ones that went from like 40 cents or 30 cents to $120. Like, what's the rationality behind that stock running? Was it really that the stimulus injection was what was causing our market to go up and individual investor money to prop these? I don't think so. I just think that's too much money for that reaction on the chart. And I think, like I said, these things are on a pre-planned sort of path cyclically. And what you're going to see is sort of a similar thing happening very soon, I think. And I don't think that this is one of those stocks where you have to have that much or as much fear, right, from a company standpoint if you're a real fundamental type trader. So keep those things in mind, guys, those concepts that I showed and shared with you today. Like I said, today's President's Day. We do not have an open market today, but tomorrow morning, we're going to get a pretty good idea of where not only where Rivian is headed, but the overall market also, right? If we look at SPY looks like it's ready to sort of start coming back up again. So you've seen the crash down, it's pulling up sideways. There's another direction here I think that SPY's got to make. Okay. And to me, it looks like there's more potential upside. We might even see crazy thought here. We might even see SPY pulling all the way up to the $600-$700 range. over the next course of the year. So that's also something to consider too. As if this market's not completely topped out yet, there's more growth, right, to be had. And even still, when the market tops out, you're going to see that's when the euphoria kicks in. And it'll be the last phase of this market cycle before we start tumbling back down, right? Where we see SPY start to chop down over the course of the next, 3-4 years potentially, right? Maybe testing some of these levels down here. So that's what I have for you guys today. I really appreciate you guys stopping in, checking out the channel, and especially maybe using this as like one of the biggest opportunities going forward in this new year now. So stay tuned, guys. I'll keep you up to date with what I see tomorrow. I'm going to try to drop a video at least in the next maybe day or two to see where it's headed. I mean, one daily candle, maybe it's huge. Maybe it's a ginormous 20% candle. Then maybe I'll just try to drop something. But if we get like something minimal, maybe I'll wait a couple days to see where this goes so that we can break that down together. All right, guys, as always, appreciate you. Have a great day. Hopefully some of you guys had the day off today. I wish you guys the best of luck. Let's see what happens tomorrow.